One, two, three, four.
Yo, what's up, jazz guitar friends? You caught me in the gig simulator. Hey, I get a lot of questions and comments when I put up gig simulator related posts. So check it out. The gig simulator is just my iMac with a bunch of Jamie Aebersolds that I play through. I got a subwoofer. I got a nice little setup here at the crib. And when I'm not playing, I always try to be playing. You know, the old saying is you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. Very lucky to be where I live, sort of between Philadelphia and New York. There's a lot of places in Philly and Trenton and the surrounding areas where I've always been able to go find music, play with other musicians, but a lot of people don't have that. And even when I am playing, I'm always spending some time in the gig simulator. So check it out. What I basically do is I have like a bunch of tunes, maybe 30 or 40 songs and a play along a list that I created, and I hit it on the random button, and today it ended up on Softly as in a Morning Sunrise, which is a song that I play a lot. Now, what are some things that you can do in the gig simulator to really help you learn how to play? Now, I picked this song, right? So you got happy jazz songs and you got sad jazz songs, right? Happy songs are major, sad songs are minor. And a lot of these songs are what I like to call turnaround tunes, where basically you're dealing with a tonality, it's that C minor, and then you're playing that turnaround. There's a melody over it, obviously, but you're just kind of dealing with that. It happens like 3 or 4 times where you're playing like a bar C minor, and then D and G, the 2-5, back and forth. So what can happen here is, even though it looks really simple, it can be very difficult because you can lose track of the form really easily. And on a tune like Softly as in a Morning Sunrise, where like the bridge goes to, that E flat major, you could still be sort of playing C minor and like get away with it if you're doing your Pat Martino minor conversion concept, right? But we don't want to be guessing, right? We want to know what we're playing. So one thing that you saw me do on everything was I put up a pickup and I marked the form much like a drummer would. The melody starts. But what I did is on the second beat, I played that, G, A, B, going right up to it. A little the Addams Family kind of vibe. So what that is going to do is it's going to give me, let's just say I'm out of the gig simulator and maybe like I'm playing with a rhythm section where I'm still not sure where the beat is. I don't want to mess up right on the form, right? But if I can kind of get a little pickup going, maybe I could find my footing and create some momentum. So what I ended up doing there was I played the melody an octave lower, and then after we got through it, I kind of gave myself a little walk up to there and repeated the same idea. So now I know that this is the second A, right? It's still the same chords, still the same vibe. But I know it's a second A because I'm going to play an octave higher. I'm going to play that pickup, every time, right? And I run through the melody here, and, the way these songs work, everything is you're playing towards like the fifth or the ninth bar. So after the second time I go through, and it's going to go to the bridge, that last part is that 2-5 going into the E flat. What I end up trying to do there was just, play like a little line. I did it a lot in this solo where I played the lick, right? Right? And again, I'm playing that to just let everybody know where I'm going to the bridge. And then like I kind of have a little fun. And then again, when I'm coming back to my last A, I played a bunch of stuff to just make it really clear where I was, right? Just like a drummer would. A drummer doesn't have all the harmonic and melodic tools at his or her disposal, so they really have to mark the form. This is why mastering form can be really useful. When I started playing, I felt like I had some chops, but I was a forminator, which is kind of like the Terminator. When you can't play forms and you forminate a song, essentially you're terminating like a lot of the forward motion and a lot of the energy that can be happening. You don't want to be a guitar player that needs to be babysit or like have the rhythm section like kind of like nod to you where the sections are going to change. You really want to be on it. And a lot of people feel that jazz is much more difficult than like rock or pop music. From playing pop music and some rock tunes, like the forms are much different, and sometimes, it's not just 8, 8, 8, 8. In jazz, it's very uniform, or a lot of jazz tunes is very uniform where you're just going to be playing those 8-bar phrases. So thinking and playing in 8 bars is really useful. Another thing that I like to do and use the gig simulator for is 2 things. Number 1, learning how to play it safe, right? You learn how to develop ideas because you get a chance to play it a lot. It's sort of like being able to get your lines right shooting a TV show or a movie versus doing it live, right? When you're in the gig simulator, you have some opportunities to make a few mistakes. But you also have some opportunities to really play simple ideas and develop stuff. So many great players don't develop a lot of their ideas. When I started out my solo, I started out with a lick, right? And then I repeated it here. That was sort of what I played. I put the lick in there and I repeated some ideas. Don't be scared. Repetition is oftentimes like the most memorable part of some of the greatest solos we've ever heard or played, right? And the next thing after I kind of get comfortable repeating is like, I'm going to try to play some stuff that I don't normally play. I'm going to try to stretch. I think maybe in my second or third chorus I was going for some stuff that was like maybe not under my fingers. But that's cool, right? This is not like a Blue Note album. It's just a YouTube post on using the gig simulator and trying to learn how to play and get your form straight. You know, you're never going to play anything that you've never played before. You know, I see a lot of people with like effortless mastery books and like, you know, people that are all into train and spiritualism and all that stuff, and like that's great, but like there's no magical jazz god that's going to come down and lay hands on you during your solo and take you somewhere. You're steering the ship. And if you're always playing it safe, your solo's going to sound okay, but maybe not that exciting. If you're reaching for stuff, you might sound like pretty interesting, but not super polished. You know, the trick is to have a little bit of both, right? And that's kind of what you want as an improviser, is the opportunity to kind of like establish an idea, you know, create a theme and expand on it. That's all anybody could ever want. And that's a great thing about the gig simulator, is because you have endless opportunities to try to get it right. And by doing it a lot of times, sooner or later, it just becomes second nature. So, all right, jazz guitar friends, if you made it this far in the video, thanks so much. Geez, I'm 11 minutes in. If you like the video, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It sure means a lot to me. I appreciate all the amazing support from my awesome subscribers. Thank you so much. If you ever have any requests or anything, I try to accommodate everything, because, you know, it's always good to have some cool topics for videos, you know. I don't have all the answers, so it's nice to get a little bit of feedback. Bebop, thanks for hanging out. Keep swinging.